one was when we went back to get his truck in Virginia. And I don't know what possessed me, but I said, Dan, when you want to go back to Virginia and get that truck, let me know and I'll go with you. Thinking that would never happen. And sure enough, he calls me up. He says, well, what are you doing in 2 weeks? I said, well, I'm retired. I don't do anything. I'm not doing anything. He said, okay, well, we got to go back and get the truck. I said, okay, fine. He said, you're in charge of entertainment on the way back because it doesn't have a radio. Okay, no problem. So I went. My sons had, have all those fun things. We had a DVD player that would plug into your cigarette lighter, so we could watch DVDs on the way back from Virginia. And I had no idea what condition the truck was in. I figured, we'd be going 55 miles an hour, and guys would be blowing by us the entire time. So we got on the plane, flew out, and we got the truck, got it loaded up with some of his stuff. And we're getting ready to leave, and of course you have to go on the Beltway, which is in Washington, D.C., which he said, well, that's going to be packed until like 9 o'clock. Let's go have a beer and a burger. Okay, well, when you're with Dan, that's the first place you go. So I got a favorite burger and beer place, so let's go with that. So we did. We went and had burger and beer. He thought we were going to take off from Washington, D.C. and drive to my aunt's house in St. Louis in one night. And so I said, well, I got all the videos. I'm all ready to go. I got some great movies. So we get there, and I take the charger and I plug it in, and of course the whole back side of that thing had rusted out, so it wasn't working at all. So I said, well, Dan, I'm going to have to sing to you all the way back. We have absolutely nothing going on. So we got on the turnpike and got somewhere into Pennsylvania someplace and stopped and spent the night. And at that point, I wasn't quite as annoyed with his snoring as I was when I went out for what were we out in Nebraska for? It was for Elle's birthday. I have to tell you that story real quick because I'm staying with Dan in the same bedroom, in the same room, and I don't know what Sue had something. She had those nasal strips or something like that. You put on to keep from snoring so loud. Well, he decided, well, I don't need those out here. It'll be okay. Well, about 2 o'clock in the morning. I haven't slept a wink. So I get up and I take my pillow, I get in the bathtub, and I close up. I've got cotton stuck in my ears. Well, about 2:30, he has to go to the bathroom. My head's right there by the toilet. He comes in and sits down. What the hell are you doing in here? I said, well, I couldn't sleep. You expect me to drive back, and I won't be able to drive because you're snoring. But anyway, it wasn't quite so bad coming back from Washington, D.C. for whatever reason and stuff. So we're on the way back, and things are actually going pretty good until we hit Goodland, Kansas, and it just started raining like crazy. And so then he said, well, we'd have to spend the night. I said, we're not that far away. We're like 2 hours away. Let's go. Well, my windshield wipers don't work on the truck. So it was just one thing after another of his truck. But I know how much he loved that truck and how much it meant to him. And that was a good memory for us. Like I said, there's a ton of growing up with him and everything else, and what a great guy he was, and how much fun we had, and how many fights we got into too. There were quite a few battles there. The neighbors almost called the police on us one time because we were doing battle out in the front yard. So Dan, you'll be missed. You obviously are very loved, based on all the people really here right now. I know he really appreciates you all being here and living in Boulder with him. So.
Don't know exactly what to say. I'm Tony. I'm the youngest brother. Well, 11 years younger than Dan, 9 years younger than Steve, 6 years younger than Jim. Pretty much the baby of the family. I guess some of the things that I remember Dan was always a great storyteller, and maybe it's just his colorful language that he used, and maybe a little bit of embellishment that always made his story. I can't give you any specific examples, but it's always fun to come in and listen to him, because he always had a story about something, because he lived such a full life and had so many different experiences. He could talk to you just about anything that he wanted to, and anything that you wanted to hear. I guess some of my first memories of Dan was he always brought good-looking girls back to the house. And that was awesome. Even though I was young, I still remember that. Remember going getting books and sitting on their lap, hey, can you read me this book? Even when I was 18 years old, getting out Green Eggs and Ham still seemed appropriate. I don't know. It just seemed like the right thing to do, but they would always indulge me for whatever reason. And it was fun. And although Dan was by far the smallest, without a doubt was the toughest, and intimidated me no end. I don't know about the rest of you. I can remember one time that I was, because he would kind of mess with me all the time, because that's just what he did. So there's one time I was hanging out around the corner, and so when he comes out of the bathroom, I'm going to scare him. I don't even remember how old I was, but I was old enough to know. So I'm hanging around this corner, and boo! He almost hit me. He talked back and he went like that, and I don't know if he knew exactly what he was doing, but it was just like, okay, all right. I understand, we won't play that game anymore. But, even as recently as when Dad died last week, and we were all over at Jenny's house, and he just had a way of coming up and talking to you and making you feel comfortable. And that's just the way he was, and it was always good to see him. So, he definitely be missed.